Stop for a moment. Before you decide anything, watch this. This story didn't start today. Something here doesn't add up. Recent online tensions between Korean netizens, often referred to as Knet, and fans from Southeast Asia have grown into a wider digital conflict. What began as isolated disagreements on social media has evolved into a broader debate about fandom behavior, cultural sensitivity, and online influence. As the conversation expanded, one name began appearing repeatedly across platforms: BTS. The question now being asked across communities is simple. How did BTS become part of this situation, and what impact could it have? The current discussion first gained attention when several online posts from Korean community forums criticized the behavior of international fans, particularly from Southeast Asia. Some users claimed that aggressive voting campaigns, mass commenting, and coordinated trends were distorting public opinion or creating pressure around certain artists. These criticisms quickly spread beyond local platforms and were translated into multiple languages. In response, many Southeast Asian fans defended their actions. They argued that global participation has always been part of the modern K-pop ecosystem. Fans from Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines, and other countries emphasized their role in streaming, voting, and supporting artists financially and digitally. What started as a debate about fan culture soon turned into a larger argument about respect, recognition, and the role of international audiences in the Korean entertainment industry. As the conversation intensified, BTS became one of the central topics. The group's global fan base is one of the largest and most organized in the world, with strong communities across Southeast Asia. Because of this scale, any discussion about international fan influence often references BTS, even when the group itself is not directly involved. In several online discussions, some Korean users expressed concern that international support could overshadow domestic opinion. Others questioned whether global fandom power was changing the balance of influence within the industry. At the same time, many international fans saw these comments as dismissive of their long-term support and contributions to the global success of Korean artists, including BTS. The situation escalated when certain posts and comments were interpreted as disrespectful toward Southeast Asian fans. Screenshots circulated widely, and the tone of the conversation became increasingly defensive on both sides. As hashtags and keywords began trending, BTS's name appeared more frequently, not because of any official activity, but because the group symbolizes the global expansion of K-pop. From an industry perspective, the connection between BTS and the situation reflects their position as a global benchmark. BTS is often used as a reference point when discussing international fandom power, streaming influence, and worldwide market reach. Their achievements have reshaped how the industry views overseas audiences. As a result, any debate about global fan impact naturally brings their name into the conversation. It is important to note that BTS has not released any statements related to the conflict, and there has been no official involvement from the group or their management. The discussion exists entirely within online communities and media commentary. However, the scale of the conversation highlights the broader challenges of managing a global fan culture. Public reactions have been mixed. Some Korean media outlets have reported on the tension as part of a larger discussion about changing fan dynamics in the digital era. Analysts point out that the international market now represents a major portion of revenue for the Korean entertainment industry. Album sales, streaming numbers, concert attendance, and brand partnerships increasingly depend on overseas audiences. At the same time, opinion columns and online discussions reflect concerns about cultural misunderstandings and communication gaps. Differences in language, context, and online behavior can easily lead to misinterpretation. What one group sees as enthusiastic support, another may view as excessive or disruptive. Among international fans, particularly in Southeast Asia, the reaction has focused on recognition and respect. Many fans have shared data showing their contribution to chart performance, digital engagement, and global visibility for Korean artists. Supporters argue that K-pop, global success would not be possible without strong international participation. Within fan communities, many voices are also calling for de-escalation. Longtime fans emphasize that conflicts between regions ultimately harm the artists themselves. BTS, in particular, has consistently promoted messages of unity, diversity, and global connection. For many observers, the current situation contradicts the values that helped build the group's worldwide support. From a career perspective, the direct impact on BTS appears limited at this time. The group's global brand remains strong, and their reputation is built on years of consistent performance, international achievements, and a positive public image. There is no evidence of commercial or industry consequences related to the online conflict. However, indirect risks exist. In the digital era, repeated negative discourse can influence public perception, even when artists are not directly involved. Brand partners and media platforms closely monitor online sentiment. While BTS's position is currently stable, the situation highlights how quickly unrelated discussions can pull major artists into broader controversies. Industry experts note that this is not the first time global fandom dynamics have created tension. As K-pop continues to expand internationally, the balance between domestic identity and global participation remains a sensitive issue. Artists like BTS operate at the center of this shift, representing both Korean cultural influence and international audience power. Another important factor is algorithm-driven visibility. Social media platforms often amplify conflict because controversial content generates more engagement. As debates spread across different languages and regions, context is sometimes lost, increasing the risk of misunderstanding. This environment makes it easier for large names like BTS to be mentioned repeatedly, even when they are not directly connected to the original issue. Media coverage has also taken a cautious tone. Most entertainment outlets frame the situation as a fan culture debate rather than an artist controversy. Reports focus on the changing structure of the global K-pop market and the growing influence of Southeast Asia as a major consumer region. Market data supports this trend. Southeast Asia consistently ranks among the strongest regions for streaming, social engagement, and concert demand. For companies and artists, maintaining a positive relationship with these audiences is essential. This reality further explains why discussions about international fan influence often attract industry attention. For BTS, the broader context remains one of global leadership. The group's success has helped redefine K-pop as an international industry rather than a regional one. While this position brings influence, it also means that their name is frequently used in conversations about industry change, whether or not they are directly involved. At the fan community level, there are growing efforts to shift the narrative back toward cooperation. Many multilingual fanbases have begun sharing messages that discourage regional comparisons and promote mutual respect. These efforts reflect an understanding that long-term stability depends on a unified global audience. As of now, the situation remains an online discourse rather than a formal controversy. There are no official responses from BTS, their agency, or major industry organizations. The discussion continues to evolve within social media spaces, with attention gradually shifting toward broader questions about global fandom culture. In summary, the Knet versus Southeast Asia tension reflects a larger transition within the K-pop industry. As international audiences grow in influence, debates about recognition, cultural perspective, and fan behavior are becoming more visible. BTS has been mentioned not because of direct involvement, but because the group represents the scale and power of global fandom. At this stage, there is no measurable impact on BTS's career or industry standing. Their brand, achievements, and global support remain intact. The situation instead highlights the challenges of managing a worldwide fan ecosystem, where regional differences can quickly become amplified online. For now, BTS remains at the center of global K-pop, not as a participant in the conflict, but as a symbol of the industry's international transformation. The conversation continues, but the group's position remains stable as the digital landscape evolves around them.